Thank you, good morning. Oh, loud. So thanks for being here. I just want to give a shout out to the organizers of SIMA. I think this is my first time here, so it just seems like a very well-run meeting, and I appreciate that, and I hope you're getting something great out of it. So this is a little bit of a speed dating situation. I literally have 20 minutes to talk to you about social media, which, you know, is kind of a tough challenge, but hopefully you'll get some takeaways that will help you out. So I'm just going to kind of run through maybe 5 quick tips. I'm going to give you 5 quick tips, but I'd love this to be a little bit more interactive. So maybe these will trigger some questions for you, but I'd love to be able to help you answer any questions or struggles that you're dealing with when it comes to social media. So tip number 1, post live updates. I was in a session yesterday with Dean Outhouse from Piscataqua and the ops managers for some snow companies, and they were talking about dash cams and third-party weather apps and things like that. So posting real-time updates, like, be a resource for your social media following. If there's a storm coming, like, be the one that says this is what's happening with the storm. And you can do this on Insta stories. It's very popular. You know, people love that stuff. Or Facebook Live is great. Just hop on your phone and do a quick Facebook Live. Are you listening, Dean? Okay. Tip number 2, post before and after pictures. Everybody loves before and after pictures. You know, and they were talking about dash cams. I don't know a lot about it. I don't know if you can pull footage from a dash cam, but that would be pretty cool because you can show, you don't have to worry about having a videographer, but you would have content to show the storm, you know, the before and after of the storm. So here's the crazy storm, here's what it looked like, here's what we did, and this is how clean everything is after. So that's a great tip. Tip number 3, use customer testimonials. You know, nothing better than having other people talk to people about how great you are. And, you know, you'd be surprised how willing people are to do that. If you say, hey, can you just give us a quote? Or, you know, even reposting Google reviews. If you have people willingly giving you Google reviews, repost those. Here's a couple of examples here. This is actually a quick little video. Video is awesome for social. It's probably the best thing you can do, but it can be very time consuming. So this is just a static graphic that we posted with this testimonial. And then here's a guy talking about Ragnar Tech, which is a client of ours. This guy's actually a client too, but.
Hi, my name is Brendan. I am the owner
Can you
of
guys
the
hear
service. So I purchased a Yacht 250 tree shear from Ragnar Tech, and inside of a week, it became the heart of my business. It's eliminated the vast majority of my bucket truck work. It's just much, much faster than I was before. So the Yacht 250 is an attachment goes on the end of the excavator, and it's kind of like a claw with a blade underneath it. And I reach up, I grab the tree, and as it grabs, it cuts it, and I can lift it off and put it safely on the ground. What's so cool about Ragnar Tech is they're so personable. You call them, the same person that answers the phone is the person that shows up and helps you with your equipment. There aren't many other suppliers, especially around here, that have equipment like Ragnar Tech. Most of the guys are in Canada that do. So to have somebody 20 minutes down the road from me that has forestry equipment was pretty cool.
So just a quick example, I mean, using anything that's moving on social is going to help because everybody has ADHD now and they just scroll through, and if you're not catching their attention with something. And what we're seeing lately, Brendan, who's the guy that did the testimonial, has his own tree company, and he's been doing his own Instagram, and he has this blow up following on Instagram because he's always going on and talking about what he's doing and showing, you know, the big gear doing the stuff. And it's like, you know, when my son was little, I think it was Bob the Builder, was a little show that had, you know, they always showing the trucks, and people love it, you know. You just don't know what people are gonna love, but they love seeing big machines do stuff. So show that. Tip number 4, inform and educate. You know, like I was just saying there, you know, use video to talk about how you use the gear, how you use your technology, how you do what you do, and allow yourself to be known as an expert. This is an example of a video like that.
The Ragnar Tech Tilt Rotator Series is built for maximum efficiency, versatility, and cost effectiveness. Compact and strong, the two double-acting cylinders provide high force at 50 degrees in each direction. And the bolt-in high-torque rotator provides continuous 360-degree rotation. With machine-specific quick couplings top and bottom, operators can even use their existing buckets. The unique design allows the thumb to stay attached to the original coupling for quick conversion back to the bucket and thumb configuration. You can keep your OEM joysticks, and with just 2 hydraulic circuits and no electric controls, installation is easy. No more waiting for a 2-day dealer install. Eliminating electronics also means they can work in wet and submerged conditions. Working with Ragnar Tech's unique style tapered grading bucket allows for operators to rotate the bucket while grading along structures without the sidewalls of the bucket interfering. Assembled in the US, Ragnar Tech's Tilt Rotator Series offers a high-performance, cost-effective solution.
How exciting is that? So you want to make it exciting, you know, like the music, the pace of the thing really does matter. Helps keep people's attention and gets them to want to know what you're going to do next. Tip number 5, leverage hashtags and targeting. Some obvious ones are hashtag snow removal, hashtag winter safety, to add a geo-target to that, like hashtag winter safety Pittsburgh, so when people are searching for that stuff, you show up, right? And then paid social ads are a great way to leverage that targeting as well, because you can go into Facebook Manager and really target who you want to reach, based on demographics and likes and dislikes and all that kind of thing. So those are my quick 5 tips. I'm going to show you one more video that we did for Piscataqua Landscaping Company that's celebrating their 45th year. So if you have any kind of a milestone happening in your company, that's a great thing to shout out as well. Excuse me.
Looking back, you can see how the company has evolved and grown, both in size but in professionalism, and you can see how that growth and professionalism creates a lot of value for customers.
So those are my tips. Who has questions?
What is the best video editing software that you've used, and what is the target time for a video?
Target time, you mean when to air it?
Or like the length of it for the most engagement? Duration.
Yeah, never more than a minute for social. 30 is better, and we're having good luck with 15s. That was a 15. And then video editing, I have a video team, so I don't do that, but they use Premiere. Other questions, challenges? Is everybody doing social media? Hands up. Okay, so are you using like a scheduling tool? How are you creating your content?
Well, I've been really slacking on our social media, which is why I'm in this today. But I don't have a scheduling tool. I have used one in the past in other jobs, but they're really effective because for me, I don't have time every day to think about stuff. If I can sit down and work out posts for certain days of the week for a month, then it's done. And I don't have to think about it Unless something comes up in this.
Exactly. Batching your content is really important, especially when you're busy doing other things. We use a tool called Loomly, which is a scheduling tool. It allows us to actually share content with clients for approval. But there are other things out there. You know, if you can sort of dedicate 2 mornings a month or something like that, and so it's not always bugging you, or it's not an afterthought, you're being more strategic about it. You know, like the rock solid message that we came up with for Piscataqua is something that we're going to be pushing all year long, you know, to let people know that they're 45 years in business, and that makes a huge statement all by itself. So these days too, you have to be very repetitive and continue to tell people the same thing over and over and over and over, and that's where social media is great. But just being strategic about that messaging is really important, and not just sort of slapping things up there because you know you need to make a post, you know.
Are there any particular platforms that you see currently that are more popular, say, for contractors to post on? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, obviously there's a plethora of them.
Yeah, it is always changing. I mean, we tend to stick to Facebook for paid ads, Instagram, and LinkedIn. For you guys, I think LinkedIn is a great place because you can be super targeted on LinkedIn, you know, go after facilities managers, property managers, that kind of thing. It's a little more expensive on the paid side, but having a really consistent presence on LinkedIn is really great. If you have a blog on your site, even if it's once a month that you're posting something, some kind of content on your blog, using LinkedIn to say, hey, check out our blog is a really great tool because it brings people into your site. And if they continuously see you and you continue to build your LinkedIn following, you know, they'll think of you when it comes time for what they need that you offer.
Anything, 1, 2 tips on things not to do that as a marketer you might see and kind of cringe?
Don't cut corners on the graphics. Like, don't be sloppy about it. I think if you don't have brand guidelines for your company, like, figure that out so that you don't have to think about it each time. Like, what fonts are you using? What colors are you using? Like, be super consistent with those things because that is your brand strategy, right? So eventually people start to say, oh, Piscataqua Landscaping is always green and yellow. Like, they just know immediately when they see a post that it's Piscataqua because of that consistency. So don't like say, well, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, or don't be wishy-washy and be consistent with your graphic treatment. Other thing, I mean, having said that, another thing that's really effective is more sort of organic or grassroots video stuff. So don't be afraid to just shoot some video on your phone and post it because that feels very authentic. Like, everything doesn't need to be super polished like the ones I showed you. And we do a combination of those things. We get our clients to, you know, we have a strategy. We say, hey, next time you're on the job site, can you grab some stuff with the guys or whatever? So having a nice mix is great. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Great.
Do you have an opinion on how much is too much? Like, I see a lot of people, companies post, and it's like, you know, Happy Father's Day from XYZ, and, you know, Happy 4th of July, and we support this and that, and like, personally, like, it becomes a turnoff to me. So I was just curious as a professional on this, like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it comes down to strategy too. So knowing what your overall objective is, like I'm always working with clients on what's the annual goal. And so everything we do points back to that. So whether we say Happy Father's Day or not may not play into the result that we want at the end of the year. But I would say that if you have someone in-house or, you know, as a freelancer that can help you with the metrics and look at the analytics, that's going to help you see like what's resonating and what isn't. So we look at that every month. I talked about it in my last session. We look at what was the best performing post, what was the worst performing post. So we do more of the best performing stuff and less of the least. You know, so you can look at the numbers and really help that tell you what your particular audience is resonating with. You know, they may only want to see big trucks in the snow and they don't care about the other stuff. But the problem with that is, you know, what do you do the rest of the year when it's not snowing, right? You talk about your mission, you talk about your values, you talk about your crew, you know, and having sort of a theme-based calendar, like, you know, Team Wednesday or something, and you're highlighting one of your guys or somebody that works for you. You know, having some consistency like that works really well in terms of the content creation. And what we see too, and a lot of times when we look at analytics on website traffic, people love to see who the people are that work at your company. So featuring the team, even if you come up with some creative ideas like, tell us what your number one thing you love about working here, and you just grab it on your phone with a video, you know. People like that. It points to who you are as a company. It talks about your culture, you know. So, and that's an easy grab. And for the most part, not everybody who works for you is going to want to be on camera. We find that. But, you know, I think some of that holiday stuff, and if you're doing community sponsorships, like of any kind, like the football team or whatever, that's also valuable, you know, because again, it points to who you are as a company. Any other questions?
So for example, you folks working with Piscataqua, is it a collaboration between you and them with content like photos? You know, because obviously you're not in the landscape industry, so how do they content rate for that in comparison to a different business-to-business thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge, but we do a video photo subscription with them, so we go regularly to get new content for them. But recently they did an internal contest, a photo contest, which is a great idea if you want to try to get your staff involved, you know, and I think they gave the winner some kind of a prize, I don't know, tickets to a game or something, to get them engaged, and that way they're creating content internally. And the other win with that is that the team feels part of it, and so they want, you know, they pay attention and they comment and, you know, share it and that kind of thing. So it helps with engagement too. So, you know, locally, maybe reach out to local videographer or photographer and set up something where they're going and grabbing content for you every other month or something like that, because that's, you know, it's really key to continuously generate new content, you know, so. Any other questions or challenges?
Do you find like any type of like, say, giveaway content is beneficial for companies like that? Gets good traction?
Yeah, those can be super popular. For a while, we did things like giving away Red Sox tickets, you know, Celtic tickets, that kind of thing, super popular. And it helps to sort of increase your reach because people will share it. And yeah, that can be really great. Any other questions? All right, well, thanks for coming today. Hope it was helpful.